Good morning, everyone. Paul Ruppel here with Fox 29 News Now. I hope you're having a great day. It's Friday before a holiday weekend. We're having a little bit of rainy weather out there, but hopefully it'll clear up to be able to enjoy some of the weather, the outside conditions over the holiday weekend. I want to let you know we are following two live events that we will be dipping into for you. The first is services for Aretha Franklin, the entertainment icon. Those are occurring in Detroit this morning. The other event we're watching is services in Washington, D.C. as John McCain, former senator and presidential candidate, a member of the military service, former prisoner of war. He is lying in state in the U.S. Capitol this morning. See, they're going to be preparing to bring his casket into the Capitol building. So we will be showing you portions of those events. If you'd like to watch either of them, we'll be carrying them live on fox29.com. We'll have links to coverage from fox29.com. We'll also be streaming them on our Facebook page. Again, this is the U.S. Capitol where Senator John McCain's body will be lying in state. We're going to get you a couple of local stories first, get you a little bit of local news. We're here each day at 10 a.m. from 10 to 11 after Good Day Philadelphia. In Bucks County this morning, we're following a developing story. An all-out search is on for a missing woman who vanished Wednesday. She's 21 years old, and her family is praying for her safe return. Sabina Kuriakos has been following the story from Middletown Township Police Department in Langhorne, and here she is with the latest.
So this is huge on social media right now. Everybody is looking for Christina Giuffre, including the Middletown Township Police, who have been working around the clock. It is just over 36 hours now since this young woman was last seen. Let's go to her photo again. She is 21 years old. Last seen headed to work at Retro Fitness in Levittown. That was 3 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. She never showed up to work. Now, Middletown Township Police say that as of now, they don't have any evidence of foul play, but her family is extremely worried. They say this is completely unlike Christina. They say she is a workaholic, just got a promotion at work, and would never be out of touch with her friends and family for this long. Here are her aunt and cousin talking about how they are doing as they continue to search for their loved one.
Empty, sad, scared. You know, there's been no contact, and I'm devastated if something's happened to her. This is not like her. She would not call and not show up and not contact us.
She is a very responsible girl, and we just want to get her home. And no matter what, any little tip, whatever it is, nothing is too small.
As soon as Christina did not show up for work at Retro Fitness on Wednesday, her family and friends went out looking for her. They thought they saw her black Honda Civic at the 7-Eleven on New Falls Road. That was just after midnight Thursday morning. But they say that when they approached, that driver covered their face and took off, headed towards I-95, heading into Philadelphia. Her friend even pulled up next to it, beeped the horn, and the driver of that car never stopped. So again, Middletown Township Police continue to investigate. She is considered right now an at-risk missing person. Back to you.
That was Sabina Kuriakos reporting from Middletown Township in Bucks County on the case of a missing woman. 21-year-old, last seen Wednesday, did not show for work. A major raid, it occurred at a Philadelphia pawn shop. It happened at the Cash for Gold store on the 6900 block of Torresdale Avenue in Tacony yesterday. Only Fox 29 cameras were there at the store as agents from the IRS, Treasury, the Postal Service, and Philadelphia Police carted out dozens of boxes containing generators, power tools, and electronics.
It's got to be more than just, stolen wristwatches and stuff like that. So, but again, I won't speculate. If it's illegal, you have to be a good business owner as well to be in our neighborhood.
Sources say the search warrant executed there is sealed, and agents on the scene refused comment on the investigation. We'll continue to follow that story. Many of the grand jury members who worked on the Catholic Church abuse case in Pennsylvania are now asking for the full report to be made public. They've filed the first lawsuit about the 900-page redacted report that was released about 2 weeks ago. You're seeing some file footage here of Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro announcing the results of the grand jury report, and it's the redacted form. He's now fighting to try and get the unredacted version released, as are the jurors. The report detailed sexual abuse of children by more than 300 priests in the state.
Have claimed that the report has inaccuracies and that the Supreme Court...
Well, it's Labor Day weekend, so you know that the Made in America Festival is coming to the Benjamin Franklin Parkway, and events are underway. If you're commuting to work, hopefully you didn't hit too much trouble coming in as those preps are occurring. Our Jenny Joyce has been reporting from the Parkway all morning on the preparations and has this preview of the event.
Good morning, guys. So the Parkway is ready to host this year's annual Made in America Festival. The one concern that we do have, it's spitting out here. The clouds are pretty dark, and we do know that it's forecasted to rain at least here and there throughout the weekend. But this concert is going on rain or shine. We have some video. Our crews were out here as crews were setting up with tents and fencing and staging. It went up overnight. This festival is always a big feat. We're talking 5 stages, several artists. This year there are several big names, including Philly's own Meek Mill, Nicki Minaj, Post Malone, and Kendrick Lamar. Doors open at 12 p.m. both Saturday and Sunday, with performances starting at 1 p.m. We expect several thousand people to be out here despite the shaky forecast. This festival, again, it's happening regardless, so be sure to pack the poncho. For people who have questions or concerns at any point throughout the weekend, there is help. A hotline has been set up. It'll be up and running all weekend long. Messages will be checked, emails too. You can find the email address as well as the phone number for the hotline on our website, fox29.com. I'll give you the number real quick, though. It is 917-732-7501. And again, to see that again, just head to our website. Back to you.
That was Jenny Joyce reporting on Made in America Festival preparations. Should be a good time out there for folks. Hopefully the stays dry for most of the events. I know we are calling for a little bit of rain. Let's get you a live look at the Parkway right now. See, preparations are underway. You can see some traffic on the cross street there making its way across. But fences are up, screen is on. Things are getting in place for the event. Let's get you a look at weather conditions. You'll see yesterday we got to a high of 90 degrees, which I believe I heard our Fox 29 Weather Authority Sue Serio say this morning made it a 4-day heat wave. Certainly warmer earlier in the week, but we still got to 90 yesterday. Our average for this time of year is 83. It looks like we'll be slightly below average for today's forecast. Here's the call from the Weather Authority. 78 degrees today, more clouds than sun, showers around. Winds out of the west at 5 miles per hour. Let's get you a live look at radar here. You can see what we're talking about. Those showers are popping up, and they're not moving very fast where they do. See some storms, some mostly green with these, but some yellow and red popping up as these storms develop. The way the National Weather Service put it a short while ago, slow-moving rain showers located over parts of the Poconos, south central New Jersey, and the Philadelphia metro will continue to drift to the southeast. Showers and thunderstorms will be possible throughout the day with localized heavy rainfall. There were some flood watches in place. Let's get you a look at those. Because of the localized nature of these, of the rain here, falling in pretty compact areas. There's your look at watches and warnings. That's a flash flood warning. The red is for northwestern Berks County until 1:15 p.m. That's due to Doppler radar indicating heavy rain in Lebanon County moving slowly northeast into northwestern Berks. Over 2 inches of rain is possible in a short period of time, according to the National Weather Service. Those other markings, the greens, are flood advisories. So be careful on the roads. Keep an eye out for heavy standing water where there might have been a recent heavy downpour. Here comes a look at a little more close-up version of Doppler. You can see those showers moving in and developing a bit. Here are your current temperatures. As we mentioned, 74 in Philadelphia, 78 down in Wildwood, 77 in Atlantic City, so those are your warm spots. Cool 61 up in Mount Pocono right now, but 70s across much of the area. Your 7-day forecast from the Fox 29 Weather Authority. 78 today, cooler with a shower. Only a 6 on our weather by the numbers. Clouds and a shower, 82 on Saturday. Some sun, a shower, 85 on Sunday. Monday, still partly cloudy with a shower, 87. So hopefully it'll dry up for your barbecues, your outdoor events on the holiday. Tuesday, as we get back to reality, it's hot again, 91. Hot and humid, 90 on Wednesday. We'll see some storm chances there on both days. Thursday, we're going to be very close to completing another heat wave. It'll be 89, partly sunny on Thursday, so we could be right on the almost at a 3-day stretch of 90-degree weather, so we'll be watching that. Today's supposed to be the busiest travel day of the weekend, peaking in the afternoon with more than 750,000 cars on the roads. Let's get you a look at outside our studios while we talk about this. Tomorrow and Monday, both expected to see 510,000 cars. Sunday will most likely be the lightest day of traffic with 450,000 cars. Then on Tuesday, more than 600,000 cars are expected to hit the road. I believe these are all according to AAA in Pennsylvania. Another thing to consider, higher gas prices. According to AAA, a regular gallon of gas currently costs more than $3. That's 50 cents more than last year. Walmart is getting serious about selling toys. Fox Business Network's Tracy Carrasco has more in today's Morning Business Outlook.
Good morning. News of the trade tariff action sends stocks sharply lower. The Dow down 137 points, but for the month it's up over 2%. The Nasdaq up 5.4% so far for August. Media invitations are out for Apple's biggest event of the year, and September 12th is officially the day it will unveil its new iPhones. 3 new iPhones are rumored to be released this year, in addition to an updated Apple Watch. Prices and sale dates have not yet been announced. With Toys R Us now gone, Walmart says it will offer its largest assortment ever of toys as it tries to win over customers. Walmart is adding 30% new toys on store shelves and increasing its online toy offering by 40%. That's business. For more, log on to foxbusiness.com. In New York, I'm Tracy Carrasco.
Senator John McCain has arrived back in Washington for a final trip to the U.S. Capitol. His body will lie in state in the Capitol Rotunda today for a final public farewell. Actually, folks are starting to file into the Capitol for the services. Fox News correspondent Doug Luzader has more from the Capitol this morning on today's events.
Good morning. Yeah, we may see some pretty significant lines today for the public to get access to the Capitol. To see this, Senator McCain becomes just the 30th person in U.S. history to lie in state in the Capitol's Rotunda. For an old naval aviator, one final flight. John McCain flew from Arizona to Andrews Air Base just outside of Washington, arriving last night. Later this morning, he'll be taken to the grounds of the Capitol, where service members in recent days were seen rehearsing for this kind of ceremony. For McCain, this would carry great significance, a final chance to visit a capital where his now legendary life in politics first took root.
I did it my way.
At a service yesterday in Arizona, a one-time Senate colleague of McCain's, former Vice President Joe Biden, spoke glowingly of the man he often opposed but always respected.
And out of this grew a great friendship that transcended whatever political differences we had. I trusted John with my life, and I would. And I think he would trust me with his.
Biden delivered a eulogy because McCain specifically asked him to. And McCain is said to have spent a great deal of time in recent months choreographing just about every aspect of these events. And that includes tomorrow's service at the National Cathedral in Washington. Former Presidents Obama and Bush will speak, both of whom sparred with McCain on a number of occasions. On Sunday, there will be a private burial service at his beloved Naval Academy in nearby Annapolis. Yeah, this will all get underway in a little over 3 hours this morning, and then later today the public will have a chance to say their final farewell. There will be a military honor guard in the rotunda to keep watch over the senator's remains around the clock here on Capitol Hill.
Again, you're looking live at the U.S. Capitol building where these events are unfolding right now. There's a live look inside the rotunda where Senator McCain's body will lie in state. We are streaming this coverage on our Facebook page, Fox 29 Philadelphia. There will also be links to it from our website, fox29.com. So if you're interested in watching the full events today, please feel free to watch them there. The other event we're watching are the services for. Let's get you over to these briefly before we take a report about them. These are the services for Aretha Franklin in Detroit. Earlier this morning, singers and loved ones honoring the Queen of Soul during a tribute in Detroit yesterday, and today the world saying its final goodbye ahead of Aretha Franklin's funeral. Lee Thomas from our Detroit sister station joined Good Day Philadelphia this morning from the Greater Grace Temple in Detroit to tell us more ahead of today's invite-only ceremony. Let's get you that report right now.
Wow, the crowd is building, Lee. If you don't mind, could you run down again all the performers that we can hear when we stream this later today?
Absolutely, Mike Sharon, and good morning to you guys again. And let's talk about this because it's a start to the event. By the way, the celebrities and dignitaries are starting to arrive. If you would have come to me 2 minutes ago, Jesse Jackson, Reverend Jesse Jackson, just went by to go into the celebrity entrance, which is around the back of the church. But he will be on stage to talk about his friend, his good friend, Aretha Franklin. He did even make it to town just before she passed, and he got a chance to speak with her before she passed. But let's talk about the celebration. It starts at 8:30 with a viewing. At 10 o'clock, the procession starts. Then different ministers will take the stage, including Bishop T.D. Jakes. He will take the stage. Then Faith Hill will sing. I got the song that Faith Hill is actually going to sing this morning, and it's What a Friend We Have in Jesus is going to be sung by Faith Hill. That's at 10:40. At 11, Ariana Grande will take the stage for her musical tribute, Natural Woman. Then later on in the day, Shirley Caesar takes the stage, I believe, at 12:30. At 2:35, Stevie Wonder, Motown legend, will take the stage as well. Bill Clinton, in between, former president, will speak. Bill Clinton. Al Sharpton will read a letter from former President Barack Obama. What's interesting is Aretha would pick up the phone and she would call whoever she wanted to call, including me. She called me a few times while I was working. She watched our morning show. But she also, Isaiah Thomas, former Detroit Piston, will take the stage, and I'm sure she had multiple conversations with him. LeBron James will be in the audience, not taking the stage. He has 3 seats that are just a couple of seats away from Oprah Winfrey seats. Whoopi Goldberg is in that same role as well. So as you watch this, there will be different celebrities. I'm hearing rumbles of other celebrities perhaps showing up. We've been waiting to hear if Anita Baker was going to make it here or not. She's on tour. She's a Detroit original as well. We're crossing our fingers to hope to see her, even though she is on tour right now. So it will be a star-studded event. And Pastor Ellis from Greater Grace Temple behind us, he reminded us yesterday, this is not a show. This is a celebration of life. Will there be mourning? Will there be respect? Absolutely. But this is a celebration of a little girl from Detroit whose voice rang round the globe multiple times. A career that spans more than 5 decades with songs that are part of the fabric of not only the civil rights movement, but the fabric of American life. So it's a celebration here in Detroit, guys.
Can I just ask, Lee,
Yeah.
what would Aretha say when she called you? Like, you answered the phone, and what happens next?
Okay, so when she would call, she would say, Lee, I just want to tell you the concert, you said the venue, but you didn't say the time, and make sure you get the price in there too. Most of the time she was making sure that I got whatever I said about her correct.
I've known
yeah,
Lee
she was
for
truly the queen
20
of soul
years.
and handled her business.
I've never been so jealous of
Yes,
you.
we have. Yes, we have.
Right now. And by the way, you have another camera there. You have a bunch of cameras. And let's punch up his other camera because some celebrities are walking and giving interviews to our Fox station, Fox 2, in Detroit right now. Lee, thank you for your reporting. Have one of the best days of your life, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, those are live shots
Mike,
right there.
always a pleasure to talk with you, my friend. Always a pleasure. Take care.
You got it. I would give anything to be in Detroit right now. Quick break.
Again, you were listening to Lee Thomas telling Good Day Philadelphia this morning about the participants who would be at the funeral services here for Aretha Franklin. You're looking live at those events. Just moments ago, I saw President Clinton on there. We saw former presidential candidate Jesse Jackson. We're going to dip into this a little bit. We're also going to show you some footage from, we're keeping an eye on another event, and that is the funerals, the lying in state of Senator John McCain. There's a look at that event. So let's listen in. The procession is occurring at the Aretha Franklin services. We'll take you there now. as you can see, quite a collection of luminaries there for Aretha Franklin's funeral service in Detroit. We're also keeping an eye on, let's show you some video here. This is John McCain's casket being moved toward the U.S. Capitol. When the event is held, when the casket is processed in, we will take you there live. Again, if you're interested in watching either of these events in their entirety, we have links to watch those streams on fox29.com, and we'll be pushing alerts to your phones to watch them on Facebook Live on our Fox 29 Philadelphia Facebook page. Let's take you back to Detroit for a few moments.
Don't trouble the water. Leave it alone. Why don't you let it be? Still waters run deep. Yes, it do. Oh, yeah. Don't trouble the water. Leave it alone. Why don't you let it be? Oh, that's still waters run deep. Yes, it do. Yes, it do. Oh, yeah. Don't trouble the water. I want you to leave it alone. Why don't you let it be? Still waters run deep. Yes, it do. Why don't you let it be? Yeah. Still run deep. Yes, it do. Oh, yeah. Don't trouble the water. Leave it alone. Why don't you let it be? Yes, it do. Yes, it do. Oh, yeah.
as we await the start of the services there in Detroit for Queen of Soul Aretha Franklin. Reminder that we're also watching the U.S. Capitol, where the hearse carrying Senator John McCain has arrived at the Capitol building. They'll be processing in shortly. We'll take you there live when that happens. For the time being, we'll stick back as they're honoring one of the entertainment icons in Detroit. They'll be honoring one of the mainstays and biggest voices in the Senate being laid to rest. We're going to bring you both events. As I mentioned earlier, we're streaming both on fox29.com. We have links to the coverage there, and on Facebook, Fox29 Philadelphia. We'll be bringing you as much coverage as we can of both events. Let's take you back to Detroit for the moment. It looks like they're about to get started in Washington, D.C. with the procession of Senator John McCain's casket into the U.S. Capitol to lie in state. So we're going to take you there right now live. again, Paul Ripple here with Fox 29 News Now. Want to let you know we are watching two events unfold right now. The first is in the upper left-hand corner. You see the funeral services for Aretha Franklin in Detroit, Michigan. And in the big picture right now, you're watching the Capitol Rotunda, where U.S. Senator John McCain will be lying in state. There will be a formal ceremony that takes place in the Capitol Rotunda at 11 a.m. If you want to watch either of these events in their entirety, we've got links to them on fox29.com, and we'll also be streaming them on our Facebook page, Fox 29 Philadelphia. We stick with the events in Washington, D.C. for the moment, since there's a ceremony coming up, and then we'll take you back for a little bit of the Aretha Franklin celebration of life that's occurring there in Detroit. See Vice President Mike Pence and his wife moving into the Capitol Rotunda. Behind them, Speaker of the House Paul Ryan. I believe that is Senator John McCain's 106-year-old mother, who is there for the services today. So this is the ceremony at the Capitol Rotunda. Tomorrow there will be a service at the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. Funeral service and then burial. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell was also in that group there.
Let us pray. We give you thanks, Almighty God, for the appearance among us of great men and women who serve as inspirations for all Americans to be their best in service to God, country, and neighbor. This day, we honor a true American hero, Senator John McCain. He dedicated his entire life to public service as a vocation, first in the military and then in elected office. He placed himself directly in harm's way during the Vietnam War, and his great sacrifice of personal freedom is well known. As a senator, he served with honesty and integrity, working both with those with whom he agreed and many with whom he did not. His willingness to speak the truth as he understood it, even when it was not politically expedient to do so, proved to be a rare phenomenon. For that reason, it was all the more precious. As we continue this celebration of honor, grant that all who attend to these proceedings might transcend smallness and limitation and emerge as people desirous of being our best selves in service to all our brothers and sisters, as you might call each of us to be. Dear Lord, thank you for inspiring such greatness in Senator John McCain, and continue to bless the United States of America. Amen.
Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, colleagues, distinguished guests, and the McCain family. It's an honor to welcome you this morning. We gather to recognize a great loss and celebrate a great life. We celebrate 6 decades of devotion to the American idea and the cause of human freedom. Generations of Americans will continue to marvel at the man who lies before us. The cocky, handsome naval aviator who barely scraped through school and then fought for freedom in the skies, who witnessed to our highest values even through terrible torture, and who became a generational leader in the United States Senate, where our nation airs its great debates. Now, airing our great debates is a gentle way to describe how John approached the work of a senator. I've long joked that his guards at the Hanoi Hilton probably needed group therapy after John was finished with them. Well, let's just say there were times when some of his Senate colleagues were tempted to form a support group of our own. He treated every issue with the intensity the people's business deserved. He would fight tooth and nail for his vision of the common good. Depending on the issue, you knew John would either be your staunchest ally or your most stubborn opponent. At any moment, he might be preparing an eloquent reflection on human liberty or a devastating joke served up with his signature cackle and that John McCain glint in his eye. He had America's fighting spirit, our noble idealism, our solemn patriotism, and our slightly irreverent streak all rolled into one. I will miss a dear friend whose smile reminded us that service is a privilege, and whose scars reminded us of the great cost that brave souls pay for our freedom. John felt like family, but of course it is Cindy and Roberta and Joe and Doug, Andy, Sydney, Megan, Jack, Jimmy, and Bridget who could truly call this man their own. On behalf of the Senate and the entire nation, thank you. Thank you for lending him to us longer than we had a right. Thank you for supporting him while he supported us. Half a world away, wearing our nation's uniform, John McCain stood up for every value that this Capitol building represents. Then he brought that same patriotism inside its walls to advocate for our service members, our veterans, and our moral leadership in the world. So it is only right that today, near the end of his long journey, John lies here in this great hall, under this mighty dome, like other American heroes before him. Here, as a restless wave approaches the shores of eternity, we thank God for giving this country John McCain.
They were attending at the Capitol. Let's listen in a little bit.
On behalf of a grateful nation and on behalf of Congress, I want to begin by giving thanks to the McCain family for your many years of service to our country. We share your anguish in losing this great man. Rarely does this glorious rotunda fall silent at this hour. On a day like this, John would usually be bounding this way or that way, right through here, visitors turning to each other, asking if that's who they think it is. But in this quiet hour, we are left to ponder how his life speaks to us. John McCain deserves to be remembered as he wished to be remembered. A patriot who served his country. A man, yes, of the Senate, but also a man of the House. A Navy man. A family man. A man who made an enormous difference in the lives of countless people. A man of conviction. A man of state. There's a line from his farewell statement that really just grabbed me. Our identities and sense of worth are not circumscribed but enlarged by serving good causes bigger than ourselves. That's John McCain. How fitting and how true. What stands out about John McCain is what he stood for. The rich blessings that only freedom can bestow. The sense of purpose that a battle joined can bring. The common humanity that burns in each of our hearts. Hemingway once wrote, "The world breaks everyone, and afterward, many are strong at the broken places." No one was stronger at the broken places than John McCain. The brokenness was his ballast. He never lost the joy that time can dull, or the edge that political life so often sands away. I myself, from time to time, found myself on the receiving end of John's distinct brand of candor. Happily so. I remember thinking more than once, yeah, he really does talk like a sailor. But you see, with John, it was never feigned disagreement. The man didn't feign anything. He just relished the fight. He showed us that in the arena, the honest back and forth, that's where the cause gets bigger. That's where the triumph is all the sweeter. We get stronger at the broken places. Though the highest office eluded him, he attained what is far more enduring: the abiding affection of his fellow citizens and an example for future generations. So I think ahead now. I think ahead to the day when I, like so many, will bring my own children and perhaps their children to that hallowed lawn in Annapolis. I think about that. I think about what I might say to them. This is one of the bravest souls our nation has ever produced. However you choose to do your part, I hope you do it the way he did, with energy and urgency, playing for keeps, never back on your heels, never letting principle yield to expedience, resisting the false allure of the fleeting, and battening down the hatches when things get rough, and always, always having a really good story to tell. Today, our nation bows in grief. But here, under the work of Brumidi, and in the gaze of the greats, where soldiers known and unknown have laid before, we have this beautiful thing, the chance to do for this man what he did for us, to stand up and to embrace the cause of his life. No one of us can fulfill this charge, but all of us sure can try. Because all of this, it's worth fighting for. God bless John McCain. And God bless the country he so dearly loved.
Leader McConnell, Speaker Ryan, Leader Schumer, Leader Pelosi, distinguished members of Congress, members of the Cabinet, members of our armed forces, and honored guests, and most of all, to the McCain family, to Cindy, his children, and Mrs. Roberta McCain. It is deeply humbling to stand before you today at the United States Capitol to commemorate the life and service of an American patriot, Senator John McCain. The President asked me to be here on behalf of a grateful nation to pay a debt of honor and respect to a man who served our country throughout his life, in uniform and in public office. And it's my great honor to be here. In the long history of our nation, only 30 Americans have lain in state here in the United States Capitol Rotunda. Today, as a reflection of the esteem in which his colleagues and our country hold him, Senator John McCain joins those ranks. The son and the grandson of four-star admirals, John came from a family that prized military service. He entered the United States Naval Academy when he was just 17 years old. His service as a naval aviator took him around the world and eventually to the war in Vietnam. It was there, on his 23rd bombing run, that John was shot down and captured. Refusing early release for the sake of his comrades, he endured 5.5 years of confinement and torture. Then, as now, Americans marveled at the iron will of John McCain. But captivity did not diminish John's sense of calling or his commitment to mission. As he would later say, "I fell in love with my country when I was a prisoner in someone else's." And after he made it home, John traded service in the uniform of the United States for service in Congress, exchanging the rank of captain for congressman and later senator. For 35 years, John served in these very halls, under this very dome. And he fought for what he believed in. In my years in Congress and as vice president, we didn't always agree either. And he almost always noticed. But his support for limited government, for tax reform, and support for our armed forces surely left our nation more prosperous and more secure, and he will be missed. As President Trump said yesterday, we respect his service to the country. Like many of you gathered here, I also had the privilege of traveling with Senator McCain to visit our troops overseas. Earlier this week, I told Cindy of a time on a trip through Iraq. After another 18-hour day, when I was literally falling asleep in the middle of a dinner with Iraqi officials. After the dinner, John, who was more than 20 years older than me, walked up, put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Mike, we've got a few more meetings tonight, but why don't you turn in? You look like you could use some rest." Thanks, John. Honestly, seeing him downrange, I never traveled with a colleague who was better to our enlisted or harder on our generals. John McCain loved the men and women who served in the uniform of the United States, and he was a champion of our armed forces throughout his career. In every generation, there are those who put country first, who prize service ahead of self, who summon idealism from a cynical age. John McCain was such a man. Today, he lies in the place where he served to the last, the Congress of the United States. Soon, he will go to rest on the grounds where he served first, the United States Naval Academy. The eyes of the American people will be upon him as he goes. And so, too, will their prayers for him, and especially for his beloved family, gathered here today. And we will pray that those who mourn shall be comforted. So we mourn with those who mourn, and we grieve with those who grieve, but we do not grieve like those who have no hope. Because John McCain, like millions of Americans, held firm to that hope from an old hymn that became the title of a book he wrote some 20 years ago, Faith of Our Fathers. The full stanza of that hymn reads, "Faith of our fathers living still, in spite of dungeon, fire, and sword. Oh, how our hearts beat high with joy whene'er we hear that glorious word." John McCain held firm to that faith, the faith of his fathers, through dungeons, fire, and sword. And he held fast to his faith in America through 6 decades of service. We gather here today to honor an American patriot, served a cause greater than himself. And we gather here remembering a man who knew how he wanted to be remembered. And so let me say to all those gathered and his beloved family, on behalf of a grateful nation, we will ever remember that John McCain served his country, and John McCain served his country honorably. May God bless the memory of John McCain. May God comfort his family and friends. And may God continue to bless the United States of America.
This is Mike Jarek back in Philadelphia. We are going to return to regular programming here as our Vice President lays the wreath to honor Senator John McCain. But we wanted to make sure that we just gave you a little bit of the main part of this ceremony. The main speakers have given their speeches now. So we're going to take you back to regular program. By the way, if you've been watching this with us and you were wondering who the beautiful woman to the left of the podium is, that's Roberta McCain, John McCain's mother, looking fantastic at 106, and then his beautiful family, 7 children, and of course, his wife, Cindy. Next to John's son there in the white Navy uniform. My gosh, he looks just so much like his dad. Okay, a reminder as well, if you want to watch the rest of this ceremony, we are streaming it as it happens at fox29.com. And a reminder, too, we'll have coverage of Senator McCain's funeral service, which will be held tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning at the National Cathedral there in D.C., followed by a private burial on Sunday, that's Sunday, at the Naval Academy in Annapolis. So again, you can watch tomorrow's funeral right here on Fox. Also, before we go back to regular program, just a reminder, Aretha Franklin in Detroit, her funeral's happening right now. If you want to watch that, which is supposed to be about 6 or 7 hours in length with a lot of music, that is streaming live right now at Fox 29's Facebook page. Okay? Mike Jarek here in Philadelphia. Back to regular programming in just a bit.
for his pragmatic leadership during turbulent times, and for his life of exemplary and heroic service. Lord, we are grateful for his efforts to do what was in the country's best interest and for providing inspiration that kept our nation strong. We praise you for permitting Senator McCain to remind us that we are tied to a single garment of destiny, needing one another to fulfill your purposes for our lives. May the life of this American patriot inspire us to see you more clearly, to love you more dearly, and to follow you more nearly each day. Now unto him who is able to keep us without stumbling or slipping, and to present us before the presence of his glory with unspeakable delight, we ascribe glory, majesty, and might, dominion and power, now and always. We pray in the name of Senator McCain's Redeemer, Jesus Christ. Amen.
You've been watching the ceremony at the U.S. Capitol Rotunda, where Senator John McCain is lying in state. On the left, you'll see the ongoing services for entertainment icon Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul. Those are occurring in Detroit. It's expected to be a long ceremony. We've begun a stream of those services on fox29.com and on our Facebook page, Fox29 Philadelphia. You can find coverage there. A lot of music, a lot of processions occurring. It's been quite the juxtaposition between the pomp and circumstance of the ceremony ongoing in U.S. Capitol Rotunda and the service there getting underway in Detroit. We're going to have coverage of both of them for you throughout the day on fox29.com and our Facebook page. If you'd like to watch those events in their entirety, they're available for you there. You've been watching Fox 29 News Now. We actually cut in a little bit, showed you some of our on-air coverage as well from Fox 29 over the air. You heard Mike Jarek anchoring there for a bit. We're with you weekdays from 10 a.m. till about 11 a.m. or as live events dictate on this stream here on YouTube. Soon to come to the website and Facebook as well. But for now, we're going to sign off. Thank you very much for watching Fox 29 News Now. And have a great holiday weekend. We'll see you next week.